So I'm gonna just start talking. Good evening, everybody. It is another episode of Politicking as usual. It is your awesome host, Jamisha Harris, with my wonderful co-host, Demetrius, and Councilwoman Shakila Ingram. And we also have a special guest with us, Miss Jody. She is from Havelock, North Carolina. Miss Jody, please introduce yourself.
As she said, my name's Jody. I am a precinct chair and also vice president of the Democratic Women here in Craven County.
Yes, Democratic
Yeah,
women.
I
we
got my
get
shirt
we get
on.
stuff. Yes. What does it say?
Elect Black women.
All right. You are awesome.
And my first foray into politicking was not actually politics. It was for Medicare for all. Because my job that pays the bills is I am a pharmacist.
That's true.
I started going and trying to talk to legislatures because we were trying to get Medicare for all going in the state of Ohio when I lived there.
Okay.
And nobody wanted to talk to me.
And
Typical. Yeah. So I was like, how come we can't even get people to talk to us? And they were like, well, they don't care. You don't have anything to do with getting them elected. And I was like, oh, see, I'm going to change that because I'm going to have something to do with getting them elected because I want them to listen to me.
Right.
So then I just kind of started gradually coming to Democratic things. And then by the time I moved here, I got down to Havelock, North Carolina, and they needed somebody to chair the precinct. And here I am. So involved.
Well, you are awesome. I love it. I love you. We've had so much experience in working together for the Democratic Party and women, and then also with the young urban professionals. So I'm glad to have you on here. It's always good to have another perspective. So this whole podcast kind of started with everything that's going on with COVID in the world and this major election. And we just really wanted to kind of have real conversations with real people about why voting is important. So the first episode was really about why is voting important? So because you're new, I want you to go ahead and give us, your reason on why voting is important and why you're voting in the November election.
So I've always voted, and something I come by naturally because my father was union member.
Okay.
And in the 80s, the President Reagan decided he was going to destroy the unions. And I got to see that happen, and I got to see what politics could do to people's lives.
Right.
So I've always been a diehard voter because I've got to see the effects of it. I understand that it has real consequences in your life.
Yes.
And that these decisions that are being made, they're not being made about you, they're being made to you. They're going to have effects on how you can live your life, where you can work, how you can work, where you can send your kids to school, those type of things. And so I want to have a say in my life. So I've always taken voting very seriously.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think that is what people really need to understand is like literally everything in your life, especially locally, that you deals with the tax dollars that you give to your county commissioners and your board of aldermen or councilmen, depending on where you are and how they specify the titles. But every day-to-day thing that you do deals with needing to vote because you want to have people in office that represent you, or you want to have people in office that care about their constituents. So I totally agree. I think it's so important, and so that's why we're here tonight. Before we do anything else, I do want to take a moment of silence to honor Miss Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but we know her as RBG, and I'm rocking my shirt for her because we lost a great one. So I'm going to take a moment of silence. All right. Shout out to Ruth. So I'm going to pass the mic off, hopefully, to Demetrius to give us a little conversation about Miss Ruth in all she has done.
Definitely. So this week we literally lost a giant. Like RBG, you hear about her and from grade school all the way up, just as soon as you start learning about the Supreme Court, you start learning about RBG. So for me tonight, of course, we know that she was a giant. We keep hearing that she was a giant. She did so much for women. She had such a profound impact in the legal realm. What I wanted to do tonight is literally just talk about some of the things that she has done.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this is geared towards women. So fellas, just rock with me for a second, but we really got to pay tribute to this woman. So it dates all the way back to the 1970s, some of the stuff that she has done for women.
Wow.
So I have 7 things that I just researched, as I was driving in, just looking. So number one, she mandated it so that state funded schools must admit women to their institutions. And that's something that happened back in 1996.
Wow.
She allowed for women.
1996?
You'd be
Wow.
surprised. That sounds like something from the 1930s, but yeah,
Wow. That's crazy.
like it gets worse.
Oh
So
my
the
goodness.
second one, she signed a law in 1974 that allowed for women to be able to sign a mortgage and have a bank account without having a male co-signer.
Oh, yes, I've heard about that. Most definitely.
So that's another thing. And as far as equal pay for women, she played a very pivotal role in that back in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
A woman's right to choose. You know, I'm a guy. I don't have female genitalia. I can't tell you what to do with your body. I can anything above putting on a band-aid and neosporin. I'm not that guy for medical purposes. So she played a very good role in a woman's right to choose, and that was a battle that is still ongoing to this very day. Started back in like the 1970s with Roe v. Wade, and still going on to this very day. So she offered or played a pivotal role in getting protection for women that are pregnant in the workplace. Because of
Mm-hmm.
course, women have an issue where if you get pregnant, all of a sudden they really want to replace you. She came up with a law and signed a law that basically said that you have to give women protection for that, because you can't
Right.
just get rid of a woman because she's having a kid.
Right.
And another thing, women could actually serve on juries. That was something that she played a role in back in 1979. So
Wow.
she allowed women to be able to serve on juries. And of course, more recently, allowing same sex marriages that happened back in 2015. So
Mm-hmm.
that is something else that she played a role on. And, that's just a couple of the things, but we're really talking about a woman who was in the room for us, and us meaning minorities, us meaning women, but that's something that we don't come across every single day, which is why I tell people all the time these elections are important, but more so than anything, the knowledge that you share with the
Right.
community, that you share to these young girls, that is what's really critical. Our next generation are going to be the leaders. And, we see partisan stuff out of it. We see how quickly they're trying to replace RBG already.
Oh my
And you
goodness.
can't just
Yes.
find another RBG on a database. Like, it's not somebody you can just pull up and just say who has a JD or a law degree that we can replace her with.
Right.
So, it's critical for us in our communities, and, especially in the Black community, like, we need somebody that understands us to fill those roles. And,
Mm-hmm.
of course, having somebody that cares on both sides of the coin is a good thing, but especially in the Black community, because a lot of people cannot relate to those issues that we are faced with every single day. And then
Right.
the Supreme Court, that is the highest court in the land. What they say
Right.
literally is law. Like,
Mm-hmm.
not even being funny. What they say really does becomes constitutionally bound as law. They
Right.
check the judicial branch. That is the judicial branch. They check the legislative branch and they check the executive branch to say what you can, what you cannot do according to the Constitution, and they have the right to shut some stuff down.
Right.
So that is why she played a very pivotal role, but more than anything, we really are going to miss her, all the effort that she did. And I encourage people, I just was able to find this in like 5 minutes of just reading. Like, literally look up some of the stuff that she's done. Do y'all hear about notorious RBG? That means something. There's a story behind that. That's not just something that she got.
She's from New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brooklyn.
Yeah, she was from up there in
Because
Brooklyn.
yes, shout out to Cuomo. He was the president for the pandemic. He was holding everything down for New York. New
Exactly.
York. Like, if we had to look at any governor, I do love Governor Cooper, and I am voting for Governor Cooper. But through the early stages of the pandemic, he held it down, reporting every single day. He was not playing, and that's the type of leadership that we need. But I had saw an article where they're putting out a statue for her out in Brooklyn. So I thought that was pretty dope for them to do that, pay their respects to her. I think the thing that people need to realize is that this seat is up and we're in an election year, and obviously they're not really caring or trying to respect the gibberish they were talking when Obama was in office about waiting for the next president to be able to nominate. And I think we really got to be engaged. We got to be serious because I personally don't think that the person is going to be able to. They may nominate them, but I don't think it's going to pass. I don't think it's going to pass. That's how I feel. I think it could be stalled until we get the next president in there, and hopefully, God willing, it's 46. 'Cause I don't think I can take another 4 years of 45. So
Honestly, that's like this dangerous part because these are lifetime seats. Like you in here until you die, like or until you step down. There is no such thing as this is a rotating, and again taking partisanship out of it. My Republican friends love y'all dearly, but it's just very interesting how the narrative changed from back when we had 6 to 7 months when Obama was about to leave to now we have less than a month, and they're trying to steamroll this through. And if you watch the videos, you literally hear the tonality and the urgency change, the verbiage, all of that literally shifted amazingly, actually, because I was like, wait, you literally just said blah 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 4 years ago.
Right.
Now
they call amnesia.
I don't get it. I'm just like, so now all of a sudden y'all boys is just okay, but we just work here.
But if you're with the conspiracy theories, based on the little cookie crumbs that are being put out, it looks to seem, or it seems like the DA from Kentucky that brought us that bull crap on the yesterday may be up for the nomination, which would obviously be, it's not really an aha moment, but it's kind of like, okay, now I see why those decisions rolled out the way that they did, obviously. So exactly. It's like you're like on pins and needles trying to figure out like what the next move in. And if you don't play chess, if these politicians and these campaign managers aren't playing chess, they're gonna be stuck. So hold on, we got our another guest, Quentin, who was wilding out last Thursday, talking about Uncle Toms and house Negroes, and hopefully today he's gonna be a little more calmer with his commentary. But say hi to the people. How are you? What you got to say tonight?
I was very calm, and I can't help it. I talked about it last week, but I think God gave me a gift to see to the future. So that Attorney General, don't house Negro. Yeah. I mean, what? That's just how it goes. Hey, Shakayla. Hey, yo, Demetrius, I need your tailor. Your shirt is like your line from suits to shirt. Like you killing me right now. So you gonna have to let me know how to do this. But I'm gonna be cool. Look. As long as y'all keep it, to the this right here, I'm gonna be like real cool. And then when y'all start,
listen, we doing real conversations with real people. So you say, listen, you say how you feel. Just understand it's a lot of people watching. So it is what it is. I can't help. This is just it's politic, and we are having a conversation. Imagine if we were in a garage or sitting at the table. You want to be real because it's real people that are watching, and they don't want all that. Right, they don't want that sugar coat.
Yeah, y'all knew that before y'all invite me in this here room. You know, I'm like that uncle that y'all know comes to the cookout just to get drunk and break up the cookout. Like, so
Oh my goodness.
I'm like that person when I come, you know. But I'm gonna see. I go, hey, Shaquilla, hey, how the corn going in the beans? Everything going out there.
Oh my goodness.
How you doing? So you was on here last week?
Yes, he was.
No, ma'am.
He was trying to fill your
I'm not gonna
spot.
lie, y'all. I'm extremely emotional. I am.
Someone has the TV in the background.
I ain't got no TV.
Sorry, hold on.
I think
Good. Okay. I am
ahead.
literally holding it together by threads. You can't even see it, but that's real string. I'm really holding it together by threads because it's so much just happening, and I'm just sitting here. I think, like, I still look at George Floyd's picture and bawl because, and I continuously say it, you know, I come from a real life, you know, not saying that anybody else doesn't, but I saw that man, and like my dad, my uncle, my cousins, I saw them, you know, in him. I saw that, and like those are the men I go to for protection in terms, and also have to protect them. And then when we get to RBG and we lose her who has worked to help create a world for women to prosper and hold up democracy for women and equality, and then jump a week later and get hit with the verdict of Breonna Taylor's case. It's just like, you know, and as a Black young woman close into age as Breonna, who lives by myself and has to keep several lights on at night simply because I live by myself.
Right.
You know, and so it's tough. It's to be an elected official right now, right? And I was saying to one of my my big mentees today, I was like, this got to be the most raggedy civil rights movement I've ever heard of right now. And I'm just trying to find a common ground, if there is any to find, and stay the course and do what's necessary of the people. You know, we in the midst of it, elections where, you know, we all, I think majority of us are elected bodies. So we have to be out here asking questions of these candidates for our constituents.
Right.
And all the while dealing with all of this, you know. There's this saying where something about we are invincible, but we're not something. And it's gonna come to me, but I keep replaying that in my mind. And but you know,
I feel
here we are.
Yesterday was a really rough day for me. I mean, I had
Since
so
2
much
a.m.
going on. Yes, I had so much going on. And we did a pop-up vigil downtown New Bern. And with the news was there, I'm still waiting for it to run. I don't know if it did run with WCTIN Channel 12. I was like, I'm at the point where I do not care anymore. Like, my filter is gone. You are getting raw and real. And, you know, maybe 15 people were there because we literally did it 2 hours before, you know, we were like, oh, be there at 9 o'clock, but we're going to do another one on Saturday. And the people that were there, I'm just like, you know, my friend Kelly started it off, you know, she was all sweet and, you know, expressing herself. And I was like, okay, pass the mic to me. This is what I got to say. I'm like, I'm sick and tired of this BS. I'm sick and tired of having these conversations with people that feel they should not vote, or they don't care to vote, because these are the things that happen. Like, people need to know that you elect your DA. And if you're electing a DA that doesn't represent you or have a care or concern about being right, like doing what's right when it comes to, getting justice, it's frustrating. And I think for me, the most frustrating part is that right now we're dealing with, a lot of Black lives that we're seeing in the media that are dying, or, to being murdered due to police brutality. And for her to be an individual that had her whole life ahead of her and innocent, meaning she was doing nothing, and she lost her life, and the charges that came out were for the bullets that were in the wall of the neighbors. It's like you have to, that's a slap in the face. And it's like, how do you wake up and go to work and just be like, wow, like this is disgusting. Go
Question.
ahead.
Ask this question.
Go
Y'all
ahead.
was surprised? I mean, I'm asking literally, was y'all surprised that she didn't get justice? I mean,
I
and
I wasn't surprised because they were boarding up the place, but it's like, even though you're not surprised, it still hurts. It
I'm just
still
saying.
has the same effect.
Well, I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt, because it hurts, because we're losing. First is our brothers, now it's our sisters, and believe it or not, a lot of our females, they are going unnamed, less than the males are, and I mean that's just the truth of reality. But when you get into talking about a guy that goes to a window that the blind is closed and just shoot through a window, and you don't get him from shooting through the window, attempting murder, shooting blind. You get him from a bullet at the next door neighbor's house. And then, my thing is, they said, wait on justice, wait on justice. But they took Kenneth Walker out in handcuffs the same night. And,
Right.
that is my issue is when we all want, oh Lord, y'all really done got me in trouble. Then my issue, what's up, Mouse? But,
Oh my goodness.
no, but on a serious note, just the understanding exactly what Shakila is talking about, because she's in one of the largest cities in Fayetteville in North Carolina, right?
Mhm.
And understanding that when we have our females, that's typically, as I talked about last week, us men's are dragging their feet because y'all females are out, and whether y'all coming home at night by yourselves. I'm being realistic because I think about this.
Yes, yes.
Brianna was killed in her house, but Sandra Bland, like if it was you, Jamisha, or you, Shakila, who's an elected official and no police procedures, question the same type of cops like that. Do you guys make it home?
Right.
Do you guys make it home? A lot of time as elected officials, like if you guys like me and love good trouble, I don't announce who I am. I don't tell them who I am, because my thing is I want to see how you're treating the citizens.
Yes.
And, first got elected, that was one of the things that was big to me. A cop pulled me over and didn't know who I was, and it went way left. So I'm just saying that Breonna Taylor didn't shock me, but it hurts every day. George Floyd hurt. It's been hurting since Trayvon Martin. So
Right.
we didn't feel the pain since Trayvon Martin. So understanding that what I talked about last week when I said that we're electing politicians to write the laws, but you have people that's going to colleges, that's going to scandals, that's able to go to law school, right? Whether they pass or deserve to pass or not, because they're buying their way into colleges, they are the ones that can be your local district attorneys. They are the ones that's able to be, your people that really, really interpret these laws. And the thing about the law, whether you're innocent or guilty, it costs you thousands of dollars to prove your innocence. And then once you prove your innocence, you're stuck with no money and no reparations on top of that. So I'm just saying, for people that look like me, and we talked about it, it's very hard for us.
Right.
You looked at the where was it at? The guy who raped the girl and got probation at the college because his daddy was man, y'all know what, one of them big
Oh,
towers.
Brock, something. Yeah.
Brock Turner.
Brock Turner. Yeah.
You get probation for raping a woman
God
because your
forbid.
and then you look and then I just not name dropping, but if you look at a county commissioner right in North Carolina get charged with all these porn charges. What did he get?
Hold on. Where is that county commissioner from? Ain't that from your Havelock?
We had a city official, one of our city council members got child pornography charges. He didn't serve a day in jail.
No, I'm just saying that when you go in and you look at the alarming rate that these judges And this is very, very, and it's like-minded. Because, and I'm going to say this publicly, if you decide to vote for Trump, that's your business. That's your constitutional right to vote for who you want to vote for.
Right.
But when you see all these judges out here, and just say, tell me you're voting for Trump because he's a Republican nominee. Don't come telling me you love Trump and he's doing everything right. And, you know, I'm being real because it makes me question what your values are.
Right.
And
that's the frustrating part a little bit.
when you actually ask, what really has he done? Oh, he's great. He built the wall. But how many illegal immigrants, since he built that wall that's not even on the southern border, right? How many of them are still coming in at an alarming rate? Right. And you're still paying for them because if they cross that border, they still have to get the due process of Americans. So when you go and you ask what actually have Trump did, a lot of Trump supporters do not know. They do not know. So when you saying that you know, this man is so great for our country and I love him and I just everything, and then you see these judges, attorney generals, and all these people who control your day-to-day life up there saying you love him, you support this. How do you feel that you're going to get, you know, a fair shake at anything?
Well, I know locally what's frustrating on our ballot, and I know you see this, Jody, is that the judges that is it the district court judges? A lot of them have no
opposition. Absolutely.
Opposition. It's, you know, and I dealt with them, you know, because I was a child support worker, so I would deal with them. There, you know, there's a few that I love, but it's just like, why is no one out? There needs to be change. You know what I'm saying? Why is there no one else trying to run to be judged? Go ahead.
Can I answer your question? I would love to answer that.
Then Jody, because you'll talk us off the ledge.
I would love to answer that question.
Go ahead. You go first, Jody, and then we'll let him talk.
I was just gonna say, we are in such a heavy red area that we are consistently getting only Republicans running for things where we're at. So we often, and I don't have the list in front of me to break them all down completely or anything like that, but often they're not all of them are even bad judges. They just all run as Republican, whether they're Republican or not. Now, some of them are bad. I can tell you that a couple of them are not good. But that's kind of where everything falls in this area. And then so people just run as Republican, whether or not that's really where they sit. And because they're judges, really people don't really look at their records the way that they should. So they can pretty much run as a Republican, even if they judge like a Democrat, because nobody pays attention to that. Nobody digs into what they do. That's nobody hardly pays attention to what the judges are up to. Nobody.
Right. That's, I mean, that's true.
So to answer your real question unofficially, and I want to say this, have you guys, since you've been living, because I haven't, seen anybody other let their bodies right, they're pro-president on their campaign sign? Like I have never seen nobody be like, vote for me because I'm pro-Trump. I have never seen this before. And I'm like, you know, George Bush, no, pro-George Bush, no, pro, like they're making sure, you know, vote for me because I'm supporting Donald Trump. I have never, that means forget about my record, forget about my merits, just vote for me because I'm pro-Donald Trump. Now, I do want to answer your question because in rural North Carolina, and I think our judges are somewhat split, right? But let me tell you this, the reason why first of all, if you look at our public defenders in the whole first Eastern District, and that's all I'm talking about, we only have 2 African-American public defenders in the whole Eastern District, which is 6 counties. Now, out of those 6 counties, you have about another 2 or 3 more lawyers. But what happens is, once those lawyers put their name on the ballot to run against a judge, do not win, their cases become suicide. So it puts a lot of fear because like I told you, it's a who's who world out here in this political realm. It puts fear in jeopardy. So if you're scared and you got this law, you know, student loans are coming to all of us, and you got all these other things, I mean, that fear aspect is there because you already know that, hey, if I lose, I can't get clients now because I'm losing every case. I'm blackballed, you know, so that is the reason.
Oh yeah.
And just to piggyback off of that, I think we see that a lot when it comes to DA races as well too, like district attorneys. A lot of times, district attorneys run our the people that live in our areas don't even know who their DA is. Half the time, they run unopposed, and it's because there are certain lawyers that may want to serve in that capacity. But like you said, Quentin, if they do run against these people, then they're going to end up blackballed, and they'll never possibly win a case again, or their clients will decrease. So it's a harsh reality. I mean, politics come in every form
and shapes and sizes. So we are I like to read the comments. So we have a comment from Yana Harris, and she says it's because when we were talking about Trump, when you were talking, Quentin, she said it's because his base is comprised of uneducated lower class and some middle class white people. Their morals and values are about uplifting white people because they feel disenfranchised. I can understand that.
But I'll give it to you. You know, that's that one thing like that they say that I got. You know, Trump. Trump. He's my guy. You know, when you look at the deficit, when you look at farmers, when you really look at now, even though he always brags about unemployment, but the economists are saying we're going back into a recession. When you look at everything he's done, they're like, don't matter. Trump is sent from God. How do you put Trump and God in the same sentence? You know, I don't get it. But
I think the most important takeaway from the frustration is that we really have to figure out how we got to get people to vote. Because when we were sitting in the waiting room, I was talking to Jody, and I was telling her that this was fact checked, and it was posted from the Biden campaign, but it is true. Like there were so many locations in 2016. Like Trump won in Wisconsin by 23,000 votes, but in Milwaukee, 93,000 Black people did not vote. Trump won Florida by 113,000 votes. In Miami, 379 Black people did not vote. Trump won Michigan for 11,000 votes. In Detroit, 277 Black people didn't vote. Trump won PA with 44,000 votes. In Philadelphia, 238,000 Black people didn't vote. Trump won Georgia with 211,000 votes. Atlanta, 530,000 people, 500,000 people in Atlanta. Black people did not vote. So I feel like this election, I feel like the numbers, we got to show up at the polls. And,
Definitely.
you know, I know that, you know, Jody, you were saying that there's a lot of voter, oppression and, well, it's suppression, right? I'm slow. And I think we just have to figure out ways how we can, like, we have to figure out how we can encourage people that their vote matters and that they need to go and vote. It's very frustrating. And I think every single week something negative is going to pop up, and it may, it's not good, but hopefully it's for the betterment of people to be like, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and vote. I mean, John McCain's wife came out and said she supports Biden. So
one of the things I run into a lot with people is people aren't voting because they're like, I don't love the candidates.
Right.
And trust me, I'm a Democratic person. I'm a precinct chair. I don't always love the candidates. Mm-hmm. I didn't vote for Joe Biden in the primary. He wasn't my first choice.
Right. Either.
Yeah.
Bernie, I was Bernie all the way.
I voted for Bernie. I caucused for Bernie because I went to the at the county level, at the 3rd congressional level, and at the state level. I caucused for Bernie Sanders. I mean, that's not like, that's an open thing people know about me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you stay home, because it's, you look at what's the better candidate for you, because the choices are limited, and I know it's limited, and I do empathize that they're not always your favorite choices, but you're gonna have one of a couple choices. So you need to make the best decision for yourself because you don't have other choices.
I talked to someone today that said that they were voting for, is her name Gorgeous?
That's the
What is
female
it?
that's running president,
Yes.
right?
And I said, yes. And I said, well, do you know if you vote for her, that's a vote for Trump? And he was like, well, change my mind. And I'm like, the only way I can change your mind is to tell you you need to vote for Biden, because it's no secret. I'm registered Democrat, and I'm not feeling 45. So I want a change of administration. Again, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. It's about the morals and character that you have as a president, because you can be a Republican and be a great president. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that. It's just your character, your demeanor, your morals, your ethics. I can't rock with that. We need a change of administration. So I'm just like, to me, my thought process is we need to get Biden in there, because Biden knows we're not playing with him. And, that's the reason why he, picked, Harris to be his VP, because he knows we're fed up. This is a collective sense, not just Black and brown people. And if he doesn't do what he needs to do, he's going to have a problem with us all 4 years. Like day one after the inauguration, or even on November 4th, or whenever we know Trump said he ain't going to concede, but the minute he is announced as president, the next minute we gonna be on his ass about what he needs to do to fulfill his promises that he had for everything he said on the campaign trail. And that's what it is. And people, just because you voted, you still got to stay in these politicians' face and tell them, listen, what happened to this student loan forgival? What happened to you saying you're going to legalize marijuana so we can get our brothers and sisters out of these prison systems? Or what about defunding the police? Like, people don't even understand that. It's like, we have to hold them accountable for the things that they're going around and kissing babies for. Like, we have to do the work. It's like your tax dollars. I was saying yesterday at the vigil, I was just like, yo, you have a right to go to your mayor. You have a right to go to me and say, how are you spending my tax dollars? What are you doing on my tax dollar money? Even me, I pay taxes. So I'm going to say, hey, mayor, what are you doing with my tax money? You have a right to do that. We are elected. Our stipends are paid through tax money. Like, you have a right to tell me or ask me or suggest to me things that need to be done in your community, or things you need me to bring to the legislator. Like, you have a right to do that. And we have a right to speak up. People got to learn how to speak up. I mean,
so I want to add, can you hear me?
Yes. Sounded like Fantasia.
Gosh, everybody says that.
Yes.
So I want to add, when it comes down to voting, and I think we tapped on this when it was our first podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give it to it being how I was raised, right? I grew up in a barbershop. I said it again. So those certain conversations were just universal for me. Mm-hmm. We are in a climate where, and I've always believed where, I'm not a fan of just telling people to go vote. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of, I want to bring up responsible voters. Mm-hmm. And if there was no better time than to do as such, we have reality that will match these platforms. Mm-hmm. So we literally have healthcare that is going through an overhaul. Look at what you're experiencing with your healthcare. Look at what you're experiencing with this pandemic. Figure out how it relates to you directly.
Right.
And attach that to the policy in which this candidate is trying to talk about. Mm-hmm. Also finding yourself, like you said, Tamisha, morals, how you are, how that candidate treats people, how they respond to things. That matters. Right. But in terms of just these getting these very new voters, we have to help them see how these votes matter and really have unfiltered conversations. Okay, well, you're a college student. Okay, you're probably have to make a choice whether you want to go back to school or stay at home. Figure out what candidate aligns with what you really want and see how it makes sense to you. Which, if you wanted to go back to school and they said, no, we're not going to send them back to school, figure out why they're saying they're not sending them back to school before you just up and say, nah, they said that we can't go back to school. Have very, come down to the voters level. Come down to the voters level and have everyday conversations with the voters. I have, when I first ran, my white constituents were asking me, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I told them, I was like, I'm going after the marginalized communities because they need to come up with the rest of the communities. Right. And it was like, great. Now the song that they're singing is, what are you doing to protect us in the midst of racial tension? So, and I'm like, well, I call 911. We just gave the officers pay raise. This is what we're doing to help protect you, okay? Right. But when it comes down to these constituents, we have to help them realize what these positions do, how they directly impact you. First thing I start off with when it comes down to my seat is, we oversee police and fire. That's under us. For certain communities, and it should be all communities, that's gonna ring an alarm for them. Right. So you have somewhat say so over police force somewhat now because you gotta abide by law, constitutional law. So to a single parent or a family of 5, they want to know what recreational usage is in the city. Right. Okay, so I need to be talking to them about Parks and Rec and economic development. Right. So basically you're saying, I said, so basically you're saying when you're having these conversations with individuals that are like, oh, my vote doesn't count, it doesn't matter. You're saying it, bringing it down to a voter level where it's like, okay, what is affecting you right now? Okay, this is the reason why, this is the position on why you need to vote on this, or why you would vote in this election. I totally, I think that's
definitely agree. And like, you really got to take off all the education. Like, I've had this discussion with myself. Like, I got to take the suit off, take the master's degree down, take the 5 years of experience, and literally bring this to their level of how can you understand it? Because of course, doing government relations and having to argue with attorneys every single day, it requires one language. But going down to the person that just has a high school diploma, never voted before, is already on the fence about doing so, I know I have to change my tonality. I have to adjust the verbiage that I use, and I got to make sure I bring it down to understanding. And for all those people that don't know, me, I love to do reading and research. So Cameron in Kentucky won by 220,000 votes when he was elected. There are a total of 1.678 million registered Democrats in Kentucky, and they have a 5% majority over the Republicans in Kentucky. Compared, so 1.678 million Democrats versus 1.477 Republicans in Kentucky. So when people say that their votes don't matter, 220,000 people is just like some of your rural counties, really. Right.
So you saying Mitch McConnell should be gone too, right?
But Mitch has to be a peaceful transition, getting Trump out of there. And I just want to while we're talking about like voter, because everybody, with Breonna Taylor, everybody had a law degree. Everybody knew what it was, and sometimes we kind of jumped the gun on some things. Biden, like I said last week, Biden, he has a past. He voted on some things, but come around holding him accountable. But I want to touch on that. That's why the midterm election is so important. Yes. Not only you can vote your president in, but we need the House and we need the Senate. And I'm a registered Democrat, but I want people to understand there's so many different types of Democrats. Like, I think people just think that all Democrats think just alike. No, right. different type of Democrats. And I
Right.
got my own type, you know, they just ain't gave me, you know, my little title yet, but
Right.
there's so different type of Democrats, you know. And one thing about when we was talking about code switching, you know, last week and all this, one thing about it, I do not agree with everything the Democratic Party does. I don't.
Same here. Same
But
here.
but I understand they have my best interest right now.
Right.
You know, but that's going to take work, and that's the dynamics that we are able to change, because you got to understand, if you find your precinct, go to the Democratic meeting, change within, because local government is the most important thing that affects
Right.
people every day, every day. So when you
And-
start going to these Democratic meetings, if enough of y'all come, because I tell people that you got 500 people in the club to come to your birthday party.
Right.
People.
Well, I think the main issue is we need more people our age, because it's time for the elders. They was out here doing sit-ins and, you
Don't
know,
you
civil rights.
don't you tell me.
I
Don't
know
let-
you can't, but it's like they gotta step back and let us come in, you know. And I know it's a very touchy subject, but before we talk about it, I just want to say one of the commenters or people watching said, I feel like regular citizens don't feel connected to the government, but feel affected by the government. Most don't realize the power they have to pressure government officials to do their jobs and work towards the benefit of their constituents. Now that's a mouthful.
I read that. Let me tell you, I had a podcast that I was on this weekend. Forgot the name of it, but I said, if we could stop electing politicians and start electing people from the community, we would really see some change. And then I said, this is gonna be a stinger for people if we really start pulling in people that are from the community, that are really about the change and are really about the work. That's where we are gonna start to see, okay, this is how things work. This is how we can really get ahead. Right. And then I added, you know, we probably need more unemployed elected officials because they know the struggle. They know how to walk, what these shoes feel like.
Right. Well, that's what I said all the time. I call it citizen politicking. Like, because like when I was running, I was like, my lights been cut off. I done had to go down here and set up a payment plan, you know. I understand, and they need people that relate, you know, representation, and you got to be able to be relatable. And we have to dismantle the good old boy system. I mean, because literally that's what it is on a lot of these boards and a lot of these cities and these commissions. It is a good old boy system. It's like, okay, we got a project. I'm gonna let you know what the RFP is. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and submit it. We're gonna act like we did all these interviews, but we're gonna go ahead and let you in, slide in. You know, like that stuff really happens, and it's like people can't be afraid to call it out.
And my thing is, how realistic is that though? Because I know one problem that I see often, and Quentin knows, you know, dealing with
that is
politics
realistic
in general. It's a lot of times money controls politics, and I know, just going back to what Councilwoman Ingram just said, she said unemployed individuals. It's hard. Well, I know when I ran for city council, when I raised $3,000, they reported it in the newspaper. And after I report, it's literally though. And then after they reported in the newspaper, my opponent had $5,000 come in from outside of the district to run against me, from PACs, from political action committees, realtor organizations. Like this stuff is real. So when you're running for these city council seats, you might have the best interests of the community at heart, but how can we push back against the money that comes into some of these local elections as well?
Well, I mean, I think if you do grassroots, I know you can speak on that, Jody, and that's exactly what Bernie did, like grassroots. Give me $1. But for my campaign, I didn't have any opposition. Next election in 2021, I probably will, because a lot of people can't stand me. But you know, I think I can win it on $2, because I'm personable. As long as COVID's not going on, I'm going door to door, and I'm gonna have a conversation with you. Could forget all those TV commercials and all that. I'm going directly to the people's face and say, hey, this is what I can do for you. This is what I've done, and I need your vote. Period.
Don't keep your money. Bring me your vote. That's my. That's me. I can't speak for everybody.
I'm about to steal that. You said keep your money, bring me your vote. Okay.
Let me say this.
Let
I know
Jody.
everybody's heard this when you ask a Republican why you vote for Trump. Their number one line is, I don't want to pay for nobody else's health care. That's their number one line. But do they understand you do it anyway? Like Medicaid come from taxpaying dollars. What is all this thing? And it's universal health care. So they're like, oh, my insurance premium was up. Now, to all honesty, every Democrat will admit Obamacare was good, but it had its flaws. We all
Affordable Care Act. If you don't say it right.
Yeah, affordable. Well, we can say
it's Affordable Care Act. Don't be trying to coin it as Obama. That's what the other side did. Yeah. So because Obama if it failed, it was negative.
Then he loved the name Obamacare. But let's talk about affordable health care. But what happened was, okay, it was the first time that we tried this. And he said, okay, all of us, and that's my thing. Everybody will admit when we're wrong and we're passionate about something, right? Because what you're seeing is when George Floyd got killed, right? And everybody was like, Black Lives Matter, this and that. And then the little Caucasian white boy got shot in the head. And we are saying that's wrong. We have no problem saying why you shot that little baby in the head. Right. But Republicans will not say they're wrong to save their lives. Right. You know, and Trump has never had a successful business. Never. And they're saying, oh, he's a businessman. How are you a businessman when your university bankrupt, Trump Towers wasn't even in his name? They made him CEO and he sold half the stock just to go belly up. But they're saying he's a good businessman. In China, let's for real. See, I give him his props. The MCA deal was okay, right? It wasn't a deal. He got the deal done. I have no problem with giving him his props on that. But we all know Trump won't behind that. Like his aides come on TV daily, like, we quit because we're tired of doing all the work, and we don't really let him see no real business, and we have to cut his White House briefings to one item or two items a day because he's in there sleeping, can't keep up. Like, it's so much. Like, what?
You're not about to sit up here and be talking about Trump and bashing him the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
But I really want to get back to like the local politics element.
Wait, Jody has something to say. Say what you had to say.
So I don't know if any of you have looked at the numbers in your local election, but here in Havelock, we have 10,000 people in this city. We have about 8,000, depending on the year, registered to vote. We're a military town. It changes a lot. On average, a person who gets on city council gets 1,500 votes. There is
722,000 in my district. I had 700 votes.
Exactly.
I only needed 316 votes for my election.
You do not need money.
316.
You need votes. You need people to get the word out about your candidacy. That's what you need to win these municipal elections. Right. But what you really need is you need a candidate that gives people a reason to go out. We have not had a Democrat endorsed candidate run for Havelock City Council in over like 14 years.
Right. That's a long time.
And so therefore the Democrats don't go out and vote. The turnout percent in the municipal election for Democrats was 6% in the last municipal election in my town.
That's ridiculous.
And that's what if we could get them to go out, if I could get a decent candidate and get them to go out and vote, we could have the city council at our feet. And be in charge.
And my problem, Jody, is I got the problem that Quentin talks about all the time. I have dinos, Democrats in name only, on my city council. Oh, yeah. So our whole city council pretty much is nonpartisan. I mean, not nonpartisan, but they're unaffiliated or they're Democrats. But the ones that we have that are listed as Democrats, they vote. Like, if you look at their voting habits and what they stand for and what their platform is, it strictly aligns with the Republican Party.
And I call that pandering. For real, no, because politicians do that, bro. For real. hell. If they know that it's a heavily Republican, they will slide in like, yo, I changed my mind. They got to do, however you get jumped into a game, they got to prove that they're really deciding to be a Republican, and then boom, they support it, and then boom, they get elected.
But the thing is, we have Democrats that follow it, and it may not be specifically Republican, but it's an economic message that may resonate with certain groups, subsets of groups within the Democratic Party, and it doesn't fare well for people in the marginalized communities. So my problem is when we talk about getting these people elected, it's not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's a money issue, and it's a being able to win in some of these districts that may be predominantly white because it's split out. Goldsboro is a highly Democratic city. It's a black city, but we're represented by majority white men. Yeah. So to me, that's a problem. It shows you the breakdown of the districts.
Right.
That should tell you something. In Goldsboro?
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, truly, I live for the day, and I pray to God I still keep my health this long. I live for the day that we all stop being our worst enemy. Because if you live in an all black city or majority black, and you are represented by majority or all white, and a red flag doesn't go up in your head, something is wrong. And legit, like I told y'all before, I've had these conversations with like my Republican friends. They train their kids, the people that they know they want to run for office. They train them years in advance and just tell them to be ready for your chance. When we say go, you go.
Right, and that's the problem. When this presidential election popped up, we had 50 Democrat people running, and I feel like that's where we're at with the Democratic Party compared to the Republican Party. The Republican Party, they already go. They got their candidacies.
They're always
20 years from now. Mm-hmm. We're always here. Like even locally, I love everybody, but we literally locally have people calling me and a couple of friends like, "Hey, do you want to run for this Senate seat?" No, I'm good. Like if you have to call people and ask them, or it's like, okay, if no one else is gonna run, we don't want them to run unopposed, I'm just gonna throw my name in. We're not doing it right. And I think it's and for me, when I want to go to the Democratic Party, I want them to accept me for my youth, for my youthful ideas in ways to impact and gravitate other young individuals. And I think sometimes because the way that my demeanor is, or how we speak culturally, it's a disconnect. Oh God, I got one of my friends on here. It's a disconnect, and it's like, like I dealt with that. I would call it old money. Like, how my grandmother, rest her soul, when you had to go to church, you had on the little white socks and the dress and your hair was ready to go. Like, you have to be a certain way. So if you don't fall in the guidelines of how they want you to act, even though they want you to make change and impact the community, it sets them off. So it's like, I don't always align, like you said, what our local Democratic Party is about. And I'm gonna keep it real. Like I supported Chip. Chip is our sheriff. He's a Republican. It is what it is. He was the better candidate. So that's why I said I don't have a problem if you're a Republican. It's about your morals and how I'm gonna end up voting. But real quick, I just want to introduce y'all to my good friend Willis Williams out of New York.
So what's up?
So this is your first time on Politick'N as usual. So you have to give us. You welcome. Not everybody be calling me Misha, but I'm gonna let y'all slide.
I got that special golden ticket.
Yes,
I can
you
get away
do.
with it.
Yes. So please tell us why you are voting in this election and why voting is important to you.
Well, the first thing is, and understanding that most of y'all in the South, we don't really have that whole, GOP thing going on in New York, especially because we're in New York. We basically know what Trump has been for decades. So it's pretty fun when someone's on Facebook saying, oh, Trump's great for blacks, and they're from North Dakota. I'm like, you ever been to the East, son? It's not really how it goes. So you continue with that flex, and fix the flat on your house, basically. So the way Trump is, it's just, if you're in New York, this man has just been a straight up crook. And it's funny because the main reason he wants to stay in office is because the Southern District of New York is just waiting to get him on all of the fraud, all the tax evasion, all that stuff like that. Basically, let's say you own a small business and you're doing work for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to pay you. And then what's going to happen is, oh, you want to take me to court? Okay, you get your little, off the side of the bus billboard lawyer. I'm going to get my high price lawyers, the whole team, all 40 of them. And we're just basically just going to make you run out of money, and then you could just move on to the next one. And that's
Right.
basically how it is. But think about it. A lot of people that look like us are saying that the vote's not important. If it's not important, why is the other side spending so much money preventing us to vote? You got the voter suppression, you got all this. They're spending millions and millions of dollars. It's just raining. It's raining. And that's basically what they want us to do, not vote. And our ancestors spilled a lot of blood just to give us that right to vote.
And some of them don't even care that we say that. They don't care that they're like, when I say like, but your ancestors died to vote. Like we went through, well, not we, they went through like hoses and being bit up and beat, like, and they're just like,
Dogs,
it doesn't
all that
matter.
stuff.
Like, yes, it's like
Getting
it
pulled out of
doesn't
houses
matter.
in the middle of the night, getting the Emmett Till treatment and just vanishing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So another comment was, the real problem is that we don't mentor enough youth or young advocates. That's true. And it's like we're also busy, but still I think it's like we need to, grab one under us and kind of teach them the ranks. But also I feel like being connected with your school board and, because that's an election as well. I feel like we really need to vamp up or even redo how we do civics in our school system to like really tell them like real life about politics. Like my friend Talina said, like create a program where you actually let them vote on something. If there's vending machines, or whether it's going to be pizza, or where we're going to purchase the pizza, it's like have them engaged in it, especially at a high school level. Okay, prom, like something that matters to them, like senior prom matters, your yearbook matters, your pictures matter. So let's vote on how we're going to go about doing this. Like I feel like that's the way we need to engage them. And they said we don't provide a path for them to follow. It says Black and brown people, in my opinion, will willingly allow new and engaged up incomers on the politics scene to fall on their face and go through hardship because that's what they had to go through and no one showed them the way. That's true. It's like they want to see what you can do before they want to get behind you and support you.
And I never will understand that. Like, why is it that in the Black community we are so willing to let somebody fall on their damn face before we jump in and help? Like, honestly and truly, and y'all know I do government relations. As soon as I see another Black intern, you ain't got to walk up to me. I'm gonna walk up to you and say, "What's up?" Just to get to know who you are. As we get closer, I'm gonna say, "Hey, look, you should go make friends with these people." Because again, I walked in those shoes, and I've been the darkest person in the room. I've been the only Black intern. I've been the one that was looked at like, "Why the hell are you in this building? You don't belong here." I've been in the elevator where the lady clenched her purse, like we was about to go for a ride or something on a roller coaster. So again, one thing in the Black community, yes, we got a mentor, because again, Republicans, and that's one thing I like about them, they raise their people up from a young age. There's no such thing as you get out here and make your own mistakes and then I'll help you. No, as soon as you think about it, 2 or 3 years in advance, when you think about running for office or when the party comes to you, they are already training you on do's and don'ts. And then on top of that, they already have the money to give to you. Right. So again, in the civics and economics, that's how I got here. My teacher, Miss Amanda East, in my senior year in high school, when I made a damn near perfect score on the intercourse test because of the civics and economics, and that was my strongest subject, I said, what can I do where I do this every day? She said, major in political science. And here I am now. Like, you got to invest in these kids. And of course, we know in our community, it takes a village to raise a child. We can't rely on a mom and dad to do it because of extenuating circumstances or whatever. Right. But again, if we keep waiting, look, it's 2020 already. Elections come fast. Like, November
It's an
isn't a
election
month.
in didn't you say, Councilwoman Ingram, it's an election every year in North Carolina?
Basically, yes.
Like,
Again, that was one of the issues I lobbied them to have. Like, as soon as you have the presidential / congressional, what they call the not blue moon election, where you have everybody on the ballot, the following year is your council members.
Yep.
And then after that, it's already been a biennium. So that means your state, house, and senate are up again. So, I mean, there's always an election. So I don't get how you feel like it doesn't matter. I get it. Presidential is important. But this pothole that just bust my tire and this water that I'm turning onto my sink, that's what matters to me every single day.
And another thing that I want to point out too is like, I love and respect our other brothers and sisters that are for the movement as well. Like, you know, Jody, she's got her "We need to elect more Black women," you know, shirts. And I think it's so important for us to, you know, just respect the fact that it's not just us fighting. You know what I'm saying? We have other people alongside of us that understand the systematic oppression, systematic racism that we go through. You know, they understand why we're angry when we hear the announcement for Breonna Taylor, or we're broken, or we're crying, or we're hurt because we seen George Floyd take his last breath on camera. I think they're just as mad. I know sometimes we can get deep into a conversation and it's like, even though they don't look like us, we still have to respect their feelings, especially for people that support the movement. I think it's so important that, you know, we do acknowledge that, you know, it's not just us fighting. I think what it is that we all have a moral understanding, and we're all fighting for the same. And it really doesn't matter what you look like, Democrat, Republican, Independent. It's, for me, it's about values. That's why I said, like, I would love to be in a country where we no longer have you know, the Bloods, the Crips, that's what I call it, libertarians, that we are voting solely on issues, and it's based on that candidate. If you know that this is the issues that you believe in, and this is what you're going to fight for, this is the policy that you're going to try and create and bring the legislation and vote on, it should be voting solely on issues. And if everybody understands the issues that make this country go around, we could live in harmony. I know we can do it. I know we can do it. I know that we can be more diverse. I know we can be, you know, inclusive with things that we do in law. I know that we can change what's going on with the police brutality, because now more than ever, even though for us, like my age, for me, really, Trayvon Martin really set it off for me. Trayvon Martin was kind of like the O.J. Simpson for other people with the verdict. It's like, we're at a time, like, every day is something and you're going to get tired of it. So it's like, instead of bickering with you, let's come together with a solution. I saw your hand up, Councilwoman Ingram. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just stated. One of the things that I'm noticing amongst the Black community, and Demetrius said, you know, there's never going to be a chance where I see a Black person walk into the room and I not walk up to them, and that's what we need. And I was talking with one of my mentors today, who I consider my mentor. She was a former councilwoman, and she was like, Shaquilla, like, what's going to take? And I said, well, you know, I said, it's levels. There's so many levels. Yeah, we got the policy level to deal with, but we also have, I guess that moral piece you're talking about, that human relational level to deal with. Whereas Black people don't necessarily have a code of conduct for how we treat each other. And if we in a sense literally have to take it out, we can't just take it all the way back to slavery. I feel like there are instances that came from how we ended up into slavery. We have to remember, in Africa, we were selling ourselves to go be slaves. And so if we didn't see value of each other, and then the white man came and took us, we definitely wasn't going to be made of value in a sense where we were seen as equals. We was going to be seen as values, to where you was gonna do everything for me and my family. And somewhere on the lines, it stuck. It stuck. Even going back to the sheriff, everybody always sees the sheriff as a KKK, or back then it said, well, you never see the sheriff in the KKK. Sorry, my little niece was calling me. It sticks. And so we have to figure out how we are going to heal and how we are going to be better people to each other. And really just, I get hear each other out, hear each other out, hear each other out. But when you finally sit down with people to some form, somebody is going to feel like they've been a victim to the system somehow in some way.
So the conversation I had today, the word or the saying that he said is we need racial reconciliation on all levels within our culture, with outside of our culture, because that's the thing that frustrated me, was the fact that the DA in Kentucky was a Black man. And there's a shirt that was created by I believe by Dr. Wes Bellamy that says, before you were a Democrat, before you were a Republican, you were Black. So you still have to fight for Black issues. And a lot of people get so touchy when you talk about Black issues. And it's like, as a Black man, you stood up there and was a pawn, and you got up there and you made that announcement to say these were the charges that we were going, that they did. And it's like, how can you stand there and know that this woman was innocent, she did nothing wrong, and they weren't indicted for her murder? Like, how can you be a Black man and say, I mean, that's the frustrating part. It's just like, I don't know. Go ahead. I know you got something to say.
Well, usually when I see people, that are part of the global majority like us, and they say and do things like that, I know it's kind of petty, but in my head, I think, there goes another one that sold us out for a little more cornbread and molasses. And that's basically kind of how I put it out. Jumping off of what my man Demetrius said, I understand what he's saying about, being the only person of color in a room, and then the other person comes in and you embrace them. I have worked probably at 3 different companies, small companies, where I am the only person of color, period, in the whole company. And I've noticed rather quickly that when I bring up issues, especially when it has to do with dealing with a client, there's some type of racism, it's just in one ear and out the other. And it's almost like, well, why are you complaining? You should be happy you have a job, that type of thing. And yeah, they just can't see through my lens. And you get tired of trying to explain it. There has to be a moment, especially based on this country's history, where saying negative stuff to Black people and you're not Black is bad. It's globally accepted. Just deal with it. But I will say this now. I think one of the reasons where this year has been so strong after George Floyd and all the protests is basically because there's been no distractions. You can kind of thank COVID for that, because think about it, there's been really no sports. If sports never stopped, do you think there would be so much energy behind the protests and behind these corporations noticing, oh man, we have been treating Black people badly, maybe we should do something about it? We're getting called out on Twitter, there's hashtags going up, maybe we should do something about it. I think the lack of sports has basically helped the cause. Now that sports are back, everybody's thirsting for football to come back and stuff. It's going to be interesting to see if that same energy is going to be kept. But I will say this. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, people say that all the time. That's when you see something going on, it's, where's the Black Lives Matter group at? Where's the All Lives Matter group at? It's like, exactly. Why do we always have to resort to that? Like, it's...
And for us...
Go ahead.
Because I just don't understand why, just because I say Black Lives Matter, I got to be part of the movement, or I got to be a member of Black Lives Matter. Like, I'm just so confused, because every time you hear somebody say, be like, Black Lives Matter, or you're part of Groover and Antifa, and all that stuff. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm saying my life matters. Last time I look black. Like,
they're waiting for you to pull out membership cards and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't even know how to join Black Lives Matter, right? I'm from rural North Carolina.
Can you call the terrorist at the grocery store? That one's happened to me.
Yes.
And I'm like, what?
I'm just like, and I'm like, you seen the pastor was in that video telling the in the march, what was it at, in Ashboro? What was it at? He was there screaming out go back to Africa and all that crazy stuff. And I seen that today, and they got the whole video, and I'm just like, if you never would have drugged me over here, I wouldn't have to go back to Africa. Like,
listen, Willis. One of my fans said to finish what you were saying. He was saying finish what you were saying because I did cut you off.
I know. I'm gonna curse you out later. No, I'm kidding. Be sending you angry tweets like, "Girl, damn it, hate you." Gonna be sending gifs and stuff. I was gonna say this: if you are working in a company and there are, a good amount of Black people around, I think now would be the time that all of y'all get together, have a little war council, and start making demands about things, whether it's a better work environment, maybe it's better, benefits, maybe it's better pay, because right now companies are scared to have that racist label over them. And this is leverage right now. I mean, because this is probably the only time that I can think of in recent history where people are actually aware to unarmed Black people being killed for no reason whatsoever. People are burning down cities. They're out in the streets, and companies are listening. And notice, like, Starbucks did that thing. Oh, we're closed. Racial sensitivity. Woo, whatever. And everybody's doing their little something or whatever. NBA, everybody, whatever. So if you're in a company, now is the time to ask for shit that you need that will probably make the quality of your life at that company better.
Even with the candidates, you have a right to go to whoever their campaign manager is and be like, okay, what policy and agendas do you have that's going to benefit and affect me in a positive or a negative way? And that's what we did with Biden. Like, we literally came to him like, listen, this is what we need. And he came out with the lift every voice agenda, which is crazy. But you that's what you have to do, like, because it all relates to voting. Like, you literally have a right to ask people, what are you going to do to benefit me to get my vote? It's like it's a form of a transaction. We need to talk about census. Is that you, Demetrius?
Yeah. So again, so a couple of days ago, or was it yesterday? I don't know. All my days are running together. So I was with Stacy again, and we did something for the Divine Nine. So all of us did like phone banking and stuff like that. There still is no clear outcome of this litigation / lawsuit that is going on right now, whether or not to extend the census or if it's really just going to end at the end of the month. But legit, I'm starting to hear a lot more commercials about it. And we about to lose a lot of money. Like, again, this is me without the suit. This is me without the master's degree. All this money
that was going to be coming. That master's degree around, because I got classes starting up in October. I'm fitting to have my master's too. So you keep it moving.
Hey, we can get together. We can toast to the master's degree together.
All right now.
Like we're about to lose so much money, and it's like amazing. Like, all this stuff that we complain about in the Black community, we don't have good libraries. Our hospitals aren't the best. Our public transportation, we need to do better with this. We need more money for that. Like, and me, I know I'm gonna just be real. As Black people, we got to stop depending on government for everything, because a lot of it is our fault.
That's
like
true.
We can't. And I'm sorry, Quentin, I'm gonna pull a you. Why do I gotta beg you to do a census? I can tell you about it. And then, I can give you some information, all of that. But why do I have to beg you to do it? If I tell you, like, yo, this is something that's going to take 5 or 10 minutes. Like, this is how you do it. Here's the number. Here's the online. Or you can do it, via your text message or whatever that you need to do. Well, I get it, but why does it matter? I'm like, you're about to lose a couple billions of dollars for every Black community across the state.
Right.
Well, why does that matter? I'm like, yeah, Please do your census. I'm sorry.
Can
Go
I
ahead,
add something?
Councilwoman.
Because I felt that. And I just want to say, just completely blatantly, as Black people, we're fucking up right now. Like we are.
I'm so glad I'm not syndicated right now. We about to be.
We are blowing it.
Literally.
Like we are
Now,
blowing
listen, y'all, that is a whole nother 2 hours of conversation that I'm telling you, people ain't ready to have it. I'm telling you, I could get so many on this Zoom that will be a huge debate to have a conversation.
When Mr. Williams said we need to be asking for stuff, I got hot, y'all. I got hot because, and then why we have to ask somebody to do the census? Mm-hmm. This should be our campaign. This should be our civil rights movement, and we are rolling over and playing dead.
And the fact that it's every 10 years, we're just giving this money up. The money's on the table for us to grab because so you have, it's a census year and it's a freaking election year. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? It is a presidential election year. We have so many seats up and we have to do the census. So if you do your census, that's going to be more government funding that comes to your community. And if you vote for somebody that represents your community and cares about your community, it's a win-win situation. So why are you not doing it?
I don't get it. Like,
it's a slave mentality.
Everybody.
And coming from the legislature, so many people fight. Like, these attorneys are paying so much money to fight the government for the extension. People are fighting every single day, for good, fair elections. People are literally, RBG went to her darn grave fighting for us and all of our rights and everything.
John Lewis.
Legislators, John Lewis on his dying breath literally went down to Black Lives Matter Plaza. Like, all of these people are dying every day, driving themselves into a grave, giving themselves blood pressure problems, and we won't even do our part. Like, and I can see it feels next to impossible, but dude, it literally takes 10 minutes.
If you ain't fitting to do it for yourself, do it for Black Panther. Do it for Black Panther, because that man is the I can't say the word. Say the word for me.
Epitome.
Yes. Of just amazingness. And what the last tweet he said is what? Make sure you vote. And he was supporting Harris. So it's like, if he can work through everything that he was working through, if he was out there and producing, and not producing, but producing that quality of television that we can watch, the least you can do is get up off of your ass, go to your computer or use your phone and fill out your census and go out and vote. Like, these people that are dying, that have died, they're asking us to do one thing: vote. Why are we not doing it? Like, don't come to me with no BS. I don't want to hear nothing on November 4th. It's probably not going to be to the 8th or the 10th or the 20th when we find out that Biden is the next president. Don't come to me with no complaints if you didn't put your vote in. And I'm going to know whether you voted or not because it's public knowledge. So don't lie.
Exactly. And even with that, it's kind of still like the hard work has been done for us. Sorry, my fault, Jody.
Well, I just wanted to say on the thing of the census too. It is an election year and it is a census year. And we all on this call, I think, can agree that the North Carolina legislator stinks.
Yeah.
The majority of those people in Raleigh are in gerrymandered districts that they just get to walk on into the legislature. If we do our census and we all vote, we can have different people in Raleigh and we can have different districts, and we have a chance to have a legislature that actually represents the people of North Carolina.
Right.
That could really change things in our state.
Yes.
I want to throw a curve in this. I think we're all looking at it. I think we're all looking at it from a pretty involved and informed position, because all of us are pretty engaged. And just coming from somewhere where we have problems of voter apathy, because I can't speak for your communities, I can only speak for mine. We have voter apathy problems, and we do have abject poverty problems in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and Wayne County. I call it the uninformed, unexcited citizen/voter. And I think it's on community leaders sometimes to give these people a push to tell them why it's important. Because I mean, if this money is coming down, us as individuals, as community leaders, we know where this money goes. We know that filling out the census brings this money to our communities. But when it gets there, if we're not putting these people in place, or we don't have these people in place, maybe these people might not see what can happen with this money that may come down because it's not being appropriated the right way. So I do think it's also on community leaders to get out here and push the census and push why you should put these people in place. Because if not, we're not going to see this money for our communities. This money is going to go the same place that it's been going as long as these people have been in office.
And the thing about it that hit us the hardest is COVID, because we would have been in them streets. They was paying people what, $25 an hour or whatever to be hitting door to door, and look what happened. We can't go door to door with the with census because of COVID. So we're losing out. Obviously, I know that they do have staff within that organization where they are, doing their calls and trying to check on people and stuff, but it wasn't as heavy as it could have been due to COVID. And that's a disadvantage to especially marginalized communities, because Black, brown, white, Burmese, whoever, everybody, it's diverse in marginalized communities. So it's like, those are the communities, to me, I feel, that get hit the most, and they don't fill out the census.
Hey, Misha, did you ever talk to this crew about the Party of Lincoln movement?
No. But don't talk about it now, because we don't.
Nah, it's too late.
No,
it's
yeah.
too late. It's kind of too late.
Yeah, it is. It is too late. It is too late. Have you guys ever heard of the Lincoln Party?
The Party of Lincoln movement.
Party of Lincoln movement. Go ahead. You can say it.
Karen Hunter created it, and Karen Hunter, she's a college professor. She's an author, a publisher. She's from Jersey. She's on Sirius XM Urban View. She's usually on Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 6. Mm-hmm. And she came up with this whole strategy. Now, it doesn't really work for me because I'm in New York. We just blue. That's just how it is. But basically, it's more towards the red states. What happens is, and it's tough. It's going to be tough for you to listen to this. Basically, the strategy works like this. Every person of color in a red state that votes switches to Republican. And yeah, on the surface, I see Miss Ingram looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? So this is how this works. And it's great when you think about it. You switch to Republican. And what it does is it does a many number of things. The first thing it does is it gives you a chance to vote for a more moderate middle Republican. If you're in a district where a Republican's going to win, you at least have some type of control to put a sane Republican in that can probably work across the aisle. That's the one thing. The second thing is it completely takes down voter suppression, because I'm telling you right now, you go and vote in a local election, Republican, as a person of color, man, they're rolling out the red carpet for you. They're like, come on in, brother. It's just whatever. You go in and do your thing. And also keep in mind, even if you're a registered Republican under this strategy, you can still vote for whoever you want in the presidential election.
Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
If I'm in New York, so blue is on lock. So it would make no sense for me to do this. It's just, it doesn't. Right. But in those communities where, you're trying to get Mitch out of office or something like that, and you got someone else that is willing to listen to people of color, listen to Democrats, listen to the other side, it kind of helps to go red. I know it's crazy, but it does work in communities that are highly red with a lot of people of color.
I've seen it. I think we had a local candidate, Jody, that did that. He was a Democrat, switched over to Republican, and still lost. So
so my husband is a registered Republican. He's not a Republican. He's a registered Republican.
So he's Republican by name only, right?
He votes in every primary, every special election. So they think he is the world's greatest Republican, because he doesn't even miss the runoff in a special election. Republican. So we get all the mail. He gets all the phone calls. We know everything the Republican Party is up to. And that's why he's a registered Republican.
Oh, I get emails
right
from
there,
Don
right there.
every day. Every time Joe hit me, I get something from Don. I'm like, okay, I see what Don trying to do. So I feel you. I signed up. I got me 2 tickets to go see 45 out in Fayetteville, wherever he was at. I was gonna be front row. You know what I'm saying? Like sold out. I even upgraded to VIP. I gave him a second email address. What you
Yeah, that's too
about?
much.
I think the problem with that is when we come to Eastern North Carolina, we don't really have a lot of Republicans running in the primary against each other anyway. I think Bob Steinberg has been unopposed in every election, Republican-wise, and he's been in.
Right.
Bob Steinberg wins every year, no matter, he's my senator. He wrote it. I was a disgrace to my city. But other than that,
The jury's still out on that, Quentin.
The jury's still out on what? That's my city. I'm banging. You hear me? I'm banging. And if a Republican telling me I'm doing something wrong, what does that tell you? I'm doing something right. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm just telling you, let me tell you guys the importance of this. And a lot of people, I mean, my email just willing support, black and white, whatever, because a lot of people think when you're begging and you're going hard for poor people, you're only talking about black people because you're black. That bothers me. We made a motion in March, the city council did when COVID hit, to suspend all utility cutoffs. That was before the governor mandated and did all this. Then the governor's order kept going down and it kept getting pushed and pushed. Then I wake up, right, Tuesday morning, and my phone is blowing off the hook and everybody's like, my utilities are out and my bill is like $3,000 and we're without power. So my city cut almost 60 people out for non-utilities. Right. Now, mind you, everybody in my city is going to school virtually. There's no electricity. And like, how are people going to pay their total bill? Right. And, and so it's like, I call because, wait a minute, we made a motion and I know we didn't change the motion and it's getting cold now. So think about how many, just all different types of people. One girl said, look, my friend having to live here, having to live with me, and people just like, don't get why is it important? So the next day, I get an email from a Republican, all council members. I can't believe you guys made them turn the power on immediately and had our public works direct people out 11 o'clock at night. Hell yeah. Y'all don't nobody need to go to sleep until every citizen light is back on in this city. Like
we got tough decisions as council
but I'm not saying like, do not pay your bill. That's by no means is what I'm saying. But you have not even brought a comprehensive plan on how we're going to do this and reconnect people utility bills.
Right. And I mean, and that's what people need to know when it comes down to why you vote in a local election, because, and I think that's the biggest thing that people relate to.
These people lights off when kids now can't go to school. They're dependent on school. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna need you to get your Wi-Fi connected because I ain't hear nothing that you just said. Moving on.
Well,
that's the reason why.
I'm sorry.
She's like, get a booster, fam.
Right. You need to vote to get some better internet.
Broadband.
Well, I emailed Roy Cooper because, right, they gave $110 million package for rural North Carolina to get broadband, and my city won't in it. So I need to, Roy, I'm happy you keep giving me cookies and lemonade in the governor's mansion, but I need broadband.
Don't talk about Cooper like that, because you can definitely catch these hands.
Demisha, don't like when we go to the governor's mansion, he give us
excuse me.
Lemonade.
I haven't had a chance to be there, so y'all higher up the totem pole than me. But he knows me by name when he comes to North Carolina.
Girl, you be offering your hands a lot. I'm just saying. You got issues.
I ain't too many people who don't know Quentin Jackson is by name.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I'm telling you. But I'm just saying that on a serious note, when Bob Steinberg, and it's an ad, have raised taxes every year. And when you go and ask Republicans about that, they say, oh, well, the taxes must need to be raised. But when you get in that paper and you say 2% out of the city in the budget this year, you raise taxes 2%, you're raising taxes and spending all our money. Wait a minute. Do you understand that your taxes have been raised at a state level? So when you get your payroll check, they automatically take theirs out. You pay me one time a year. Like, it's just so much that people really do not understand and just turn blind.
That's why we need better civics classes. We need to be doing better education.
I will let them have their civics classes. They teach Black history. And Brother Willis, what he was talking about, when he was talking about the Republican Party, maybe we just need to go back to our party because we know the Republican Party was ours. They took that from us too. So I'm just saying, don't be so out to the Republican Party. And I don't be trying to turn up, but I just think like people understand that it needs to be real. And I tell people, don't come based on what you see. Look at what I voted on in city council. Look at what motions I brought to the floor. Because a lot of people, Maxine Waters, she ain't did nothing. Look what she put. She ain't co-signed this bill. She ain't co-signed this. Go look at what they actually brought to the floor. It's crazy when you hear this, that people just got these hood politic degrees, but really don't understand how things work. So,
and that's the thing too. I say when you're voting, one thing I want y'all, and I'll leave with this. Look at how many politicians actually talk about, and I mean, say these words. And I want y'all to listen now. When y'all looking at politicians throughout this 2020 cycle, see how many politicians say the words poor or disadvantaged on their campaigns.
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying I'm not going, and I'm not going to beg nobody to vote. That's never been me.
Quentin, but I'm fitting to remove you from this room. Hold on.
No.
Well, you get the Sandman. It's like the Apollo.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I'm not begging you to vote. I'm not.
No. Yes, we need to beg people to vote. We need to.
I'm going to ask you to vote. I'm going to ask you to vote. This is just why the 400 years, if you really understand where the 400 years of slavery, and we're going to get into the Bible, right? Because God gave us one task to do. And here we go being hard-headed. And that's what 400 years come from when you really read the Bible. But I would go to tell you, Trump was the best thing to happen, right? To this movement. Hold on, Shakila, because you're twisting your head and stuff, right? Because he showed us how bad it can be. He showed us how bad it can be.
You rounded up what I thought you was getting to.
Yeah, he showed us. And you give him another 4 years where he don't have to campaign for nothing else, and this guy goes off as a loose cannon.
You think he's not going to campaign? My man wants to get a third term like Bloomberg did in the city. Are you kidding me? My man's trying to get life in the White House.
He's gonna call North Korea. Like, how did you do this to become so powerful? Like, thank God he said it before. Like, we know it can't be forever, but I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna tell you, hey, vote. I'm gonna tell all my constituents, vote. But when I'm not gonna sit there and debate with you all day long, because even though I debate with you for 4 hours, guess what? I know you're still not gonna go vote. It's just like the census. Like, I know this. But what I do,
well, you have to be respectful and nice and help educate people.
Man, if you don't want to get in there, I'm throwing you in my trunk. Do not call my phone asking me why your stimulus money ain't got here. But because I take the funeral, I work at a funeral home. So I take the funeral home limousines and we go out and we pick people up and we take you to go vote. You understand?
Oh my goodness.
So you sitting out there talking about
really souls to the polls.
Well, listen, you're not gonna go tell me I gotta go pick my baby mama up. No, it takes you 2 seconds. So I go on, so what time? So I can write down what time to pick you up. See, I'm hood with it. I ain't no need, I'm hood with it. Like, bro, nah, you come and vote right now. Like, what's up? Like, I ain't no playing around.
Listen. You could have us on here all night, and I need to get my life together. No, you haven't.
Quentin X is speaking the truth.
Yo, listen, Willis, we got to get him in no flex because he's a hot mess. But I just want to say, oh, you got your little. We see you. We see you.
Kevin,
I just want to.
Kevin, I'm proud of you, but I'm going to the polls and press that button.
Yes, me too.
Nobody waste no mail to come send it to me. I ain't sending nothing. You're not gonna double vote me. I'm going to present no ID, my ID. I'm telling you that now. So,
I feel you on that. And I usually early vote, but a sister is rolling up on the 3rd. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be decked
and I got
out
me
with the
Demetrius,
heels.
I'm coming for you because I got my John Lewis on the front and my Muhammad Ali on the back. My 2 items. So I'm telling you.
Listen, it's fitting to be a movie on November 3rd. And if I got to stand in the line, I'm bringing a chair. Trust and believe. Up, moving up, moving up, moving up. Okay, we moving up. I'm going to have a boom box, everything.
Girl, get you some Bengay and rub them joints. Don't get no chair. Stand up, get the Bengay, rub them joints, and thug it out. That's what I'm saying. Like, nah. And I'm a veteran, and I'm not for Trump. So understand that, right?
Oh, my goodness. Anyways, listen. I just want to tell you guys, I love having these conversations. Some people may think they're boring. To me, they're not. It's very informative. I want you guys to go around, pick and choose where you want to start, because my screen looks different to yours, and give your little soapbox speech on why it is so important to fill out your census and vote. Go, Calvin. Starting with you.
So yeah, I think this year's election is one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. I know we hear that every 4 years. People say, yeah, this election is more important than but I honestly believe that our Constitution is on the ballot. We definitely got to get out the vote. We got to make sure that we elect new leadership, and we definitely got to get the census done, especially in our communities, because like we have talked about tonight, this is the reason why a lot of these dollars and resources come to our community. So we definitely got to fill it out. I know my community has not been the best at filling out the census so far. So we have a long way to go. But I definitely do think that people need to fill out the census, and we do definitely need to get out the vote. Either early vote, request the absentee ballot, fill it out, take it to your board of elections. Do not mail it in like Quentin said. Take it down there, drop it off. They have a tent down there on Center Street. So make sure, not Center, but Walnut, and make sure that we drop it off to our board of elections, because this election cycle is one of the most important that we will see in our lifetimes.
All right. That was awesome. Next, Demetrius.
So again, this is one of those things that I know I done damn near memorized it. Your census is critical. Your elections, your vote matters. It is critical. And literally, we can talk about all this stuff until we're purple in the face and deprived of oxygen and all of that. But legitimately, it's really up to y'all. Like, we're all involved in it, so we know it. We will give you all the information in the world. You can contact any of us, and we'll tell you whatever that you need. Unbiased opinion, but on some real fact-based stuff. And, I love doing this, so I'll send you the article so you can read it yourself. But you got to do the census because, one, don't complain about why your community looks and is deprived and all this other stuff, and you haven't done your census. And I'm sitting here telling you, the statistics do not lie. I have talked to people who study this for a living and make very good money. You are about to lose billions of dollars for the state of North Carolina, which could have been coming to our Black and brown communities, for our libraries, for our public transit, and for our hospitals, and for everything else that we need to thrive and to be what we want to be. The Black utopia, Wakanda, whatever that you want it to be. That's that. Another thing, don't walk around here mad as crap about Breonna Taylor and all these other things, and you won't do your part. Attorney generals are elected position. Ours name is Josh Stein. Every person that makes a decision about your well-being and your life is on a ballot. Like, legit, from the water you drink to the lights that are on in your house, to the road that you drive on, to how much health care you get, to your right to own a gun, to all of that is literally on the ballot. Your vote matters. We see all the time where people literally lose elections by 100 people. And I'm telling you now, today is September 24th. The last day to register to vote is October something, October 9th. Don't you wait until November or whatever to try to go into the state board of elections, because nobody's trying to hear it. You have literally had 4 years to make sure your voter registration is good. Do not wait until it is the day of or a month before. Because for one, they focus on the postal system. They have absentee ballots coming in. Like, bruh, make sure you are good now. And not just you. Make sure your family, your friends, all of that is good because it's public knowledge. You can go to North Carolina State Board of Elections, NCSBE, and go to the voter tool lookup and look to make sure you are good. You can make sure any person who's, as long as you know their first and last name and the county that they reside in, you can look them up. Check on your boys, check on your girls, check on your people, your family, all of them. Because I'm telling you, all right, y'all think it's a game.
Yeah.
I've been in these back rooms. The last thing, and you know, I'll just tell you my motto. If you ain't at the table, you're on the menu, bruh. Like,
I said that
I'm not trying to be on the menu.
I said that yesterday. I'm gonna let Quentin go because he gonna run the time up. Go, Quentin.
I ain't running no time up. Y'all jokers got to act like y'all want to vote if y'all want to. Don't call me and tell me they can't get food stamps. Don't call and tell me y'all can't get no assistance. Don't call and tell me you're poor. I want to hear it. Y'all already know now they for the poor, they from the rich. Now listen, I will give y'all some advice. Shaquila is a great farmer. So y'all can go out in her garden and get all the food y'all want when your food stamps and stuff is cut, because y'all ain't got nothing to eat. You hear me? She'll let you eat anything with her dog around the house. Understand? If you don't want to get counted, don't go apply for no benefits. That's me. Now, I'm telling you, you ain't going to get counted. So don't hurt the folks that went, got counted, and did their census. I want y'all to don't go to social services. Don't go get no leak. Don't go get nothing. I want you to be out there in your house, in your home, in the field. That's all I'm telling y'all. I ain't got no long spiel for y'all. Demetri said one thing. Make sure your family and all that. Listen, buy y'all a wig. If your cousin and them don't want to go vote, y'all go vote under their name, okay?
Oh my God, we are getting kicked out of here.
We definitely need all y'all to go vote there. Y'all act like I'm the only one. Y'all act like y'all ain't did. Y'all been saved all y'all life for here. That's why I keep telling you about y'all so-called saints. But I'm just trying to let y'all know, man.
Listen.
Just do the right thing.
Oh my God.
They about to use this for a Trump ad.
Listen, seriously. Moving on to Councilwoman Ingram. Please give us your spill.
Sorry, y'all. First and foremost, I'd like to say anything previously was said was not a reflection of me and my point.
Yo, I gotta say that too. I swear to God.
I'm not going to jail for nobody.
Right.
As long as you go on the weekday, you'll get out. Just don't go on the weekend.
Oh my God.
Don't ask me how I know.
Go ahead, Miss Ingram.
So, y'all, I've said, everybody has said a lot tonight. And voting, I go to what can easily, I'm not gonna say easily, be a reality where we had a full right to vote and our votes still cost us everything. And everything meaning our lives. We had the right to vote, and those that came before us were still getting beaten. They were losing their jobs. They were being hung, or they were going through just to go vote. And looking at so many amounts of voter suppression tactics that is happening right now. I personally believe the only thing that you should be focused on is figuring out how you're gonna get your ass to the polls and vote. Come early vote season, I'm gonna be sounding like Jennifer Lewis. Straight up, y'all got to go vote. I'm not going to tell you to put on a wig and dress as somebody, but you do need some plan. You do need to figure out how you are going to safely get yourself to the polls. They sent about 5 different absentee ballot requests, and I keep shredding every single last one of them because I've never trusted the absentee ballot process. Never trusted it. And for one of the point, oh gosh, sorry, my dog scared me. For one of the reasons, 2018, we had a back-to-back congressional race over ballot fraud. So, you know, and I'm just not comfortable with the absentee ballot. So you got to figure out how you're going to get yourself to vote. I mean, y'all, people was tearing Walmart up in the beginning of the pandemic. Still tearing these stores up, still out, still trying to figure out. You mean to tell me you can't make time to go vote in person? Mm-hmm. I got a problem with that. And you know, judge me, whatever. I got a problem. I'm seeing a lot of elected officials, and maybe it's because they have to uphold a standard of doing the right thing because of the pandemic. But I'm seeing a lot of elected officials that are really using the absentee ballot process. Yeah. And it just concerns me. It does. But so long story short, if you're not registered to go vote, if you wait till too late, go vote during early voting. I think it starts October 15th.
October 15th.
Okay. Starts October 15th.
And October 31st.
I got my cheat sheet with me right here. Yes, early voting starts
come with the Build Back Better with the Biden and Harris.
Election day is November 3rd. So yeah, polls open at 6:30 a.m. Figure out what your early voting locations are, and make your plan to go vote. We're gonna build back better. But census. I think a lot of people know I serve a very, very unique and dynamic district. I have a lot of economic drivers in my district. I have a city within a district, but not only that, I have the most marginalized communities and the most wealthiest communities in my district. And so really trying to press upon my constituents of why this census mean to them, and how it means to them going back to voting. How can I make it relate to them? Well, you tired of your community looking toe up and theirs looking good. Well, this is why.
Right.
We have to take responsibility for what we want. And I think to some degree, government has played a major role in this, trying to provide for the low to moderate income communities, right, where it's been so many handouts. So now that's an expected thing. Right. And so y'all, we have to truly figure out how we're going to get out of the mindset of, you know, expecting these handouts and going to go take it and get it ourselves.
Right.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Awesome.
And I will end this conversation tonight. Yes, sir. Right.
Can you give me one they got out of Walmart? I'm just asking a question. Because y'all told Walmart a flat string y'all got out of Walmart. Can you give me one?
Bye.
We didn't start up. I didn't do
He about to get kicked out. Last but not least, before I close out the show, Brother Willis, give us your little soapbox.
Well, I don't think Jody went yet.
Oh, she didn't? Oh, okay, Jody, you go next. I'm sorry. I swear to God, I thought you went, Jody. My bad. Go ahead.
All right. So census is the easiest one to explain. The census is how they know you live in your community. That's how they know you need the services in your community. So you have to do your census. Voting. Quentin said it best. We all didn't know it could get this bad. And this is coming from a middle-aged white woman. So I can't even imagine what y'all are going through. Right. And the only way we are going to change the trajectory of how we are headed right now is if we all get out and vote. So you've got to go vote.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, go ahead, Willis. Break it down.
Okay, well, when it comes to the census, everybody's basically covered everything that needs to be said. It affects you locally. It affects everything. Like what Dimitri said, it affects what you eat, where you going, whatever, you know, stuff like that. So that goes without saying. The census is important. It brings money to the community. That's important. You can't be out there whining, how come we didn't get this new playground? How come the schools didn't get improved? And you're not doing the census. Doesn't make any sense. You're not voting in local elections. It doesn't make sense. Just a few numbers to leave with, because getting Trump out of office is probably the only thing we need to deal with right now. And all of the third party voters, yeah, I see you, kiss my ass. Sorry. Okay. That's basically how that goes. Because when people say I'm voting third party, in my mind, that means, yeah, I'm basically voting on just my principles and I really don't care about, marginalized communities because it's not like my person's going to win anyway. So if you feel good, smile in the mirror that you voted for someone that got 6% of the vote, hooray for you. That's beautiful. That's strange. That's lovely. But let's talk about this. We need to go out and vote. If my numbers are correct, I believe 48% of African Americans did not vote in the 2016 election. And that's mainly because we didn't have an incentive. When Obama was up, we had incentives. Look, when I voted for Obama, I didn't even close the curtain. I'm like, you're going to see who I'm voting for. Cha-ching, blackness, whatever. I didn't do that privacy thing or nothing. So that was real. But there was really, you had Hillary Clinton. I can't even remember the dude that was running with her. There was no incentive for people of color to vote in that election, hence the 48% that, sat on their ass and just whatever. Also, 18% of African-American college-educated men voted for Trump in 2016. I don't know why. I can't explain that. If anybody can, you hit me up on Facebook and let me know, because I got no idea. But I honestly think it could get worse. I've said this on Facebook. You probably saw it, Jamisha, and people thought I was bugging. But I think if this man wins again, he is definitely going to try to fuck with the Constitution. He is going to try to get rid of protesting. I can see that happening right now. I can also see him trying to get rid of the Civil Rights Act. I can definitely see that. I can definitely see him trying to get some way to prevent black people from voting. They've been doing it illegally all this time, so why not go and make it legal? Basically. I can see that, and that is very scary. Other than, the obvious things are going to get rid of Roe versus Wade and stuff like that. I can just see this spiraling down to, and yeah, I'm scaring you, but that's something that should be in the back of your mind to get off your ass and go vote. Don't say you cannot be online to wait and vote. Your ass is waiting for a 60-inch at Best Buy on Black Friday in a sleeping bag and shit, and you can't be out there to vote.
Right. That's
Come on, man. That's all I gotta say.
All right. So again, I want to thank all of you for coming on here and having these real conversations with real people. I'm gonna be real. What you say, Willis? It makes no sense not to fill out your census. So make sense of it and fill out your census. Please just go vote. We need you to vote. Vote early. If you don't want to wait in lines, like I said, I'll be there November 3rd. If you're going to fill out an absentee ballot, drop it off on your lunch break, because it all matters. Everything matters when it comes to your voting. We will be back next Thursday with more special guests. We're going to have individuals from Advanced Carolina and the NC Black Alliance that's going to come out here. Hopefully, I'm going to have Demetrius and Miss Shaquilla Ingram with me to, engage in the conversation. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Politicking as Usual Black Friday edition. We are talking about all things cannabis. With Maxwell Oglesby, who is the owner and operator of Above the Roots. And we will have our live commercials because we always support small business. Again, anybody that wants to join the conversation, you know what to do. Inbox us on Politicking as Usual. We don't care. We want you to get up here and tell your truth. Obviously, you see our favorite person, Quentin, will go in about any and everything and have us laughing, because even though politics are serious, sometimes you got to laugh at it because you don't want to cry about it. So again, I love you guys. Share, like, and again, go vote, check your registration. Bring your home girl, your baby daddy, your baby mama, your mistress, your grandma, your grandpa, your enemies. Bring everybody to the polls, because this election, unlike any other election, is so important, and you cannot sit this one out. You can't. So again, I love all the viewers, all the support. Y'all have a blessed night, and thank you for tuning in to Politicking as Usual.
Hey, when we doing the relationship thing?
Oh my God, Quentin. That's part 2 is on the 6th. I don't know. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
I'm pulling up on
Lord,
that because I got something to tell
you
y'all.
are elect black women. You better represent. Okay. What's that one say? Black men with a college degree.
Can I get one to say black man with a GED? Like, I mean, help me out. Like,
Yes,
I'm
you
hanging.
can get one. You sure can.
you got
Listen.
Please.
Oh my, Quentin,
Oh,
you got all the money.
black man with a
Quentin,
GED.
why you interrupt my ending to hang up? I cannot
Oh,
stand you.
no.
Now I gotta start over.
I thought that you had ended it and we were just having like little locker room talk. Like you
Man, it still says live on Facebook in the corner, man.
I can't read. Didn't I tell you I got a GED? They
Oh,
They
my
gave me
goodness.
books that wasn't of my heritage and said, read
Listen,
this. And I read Hebrew.
He got
This is
points
the
there.
reason why. This is the reason why you have to tune in next Thursday for Politicking as usual, because you don't know what's going to be said. You don't know how it's going to be said. We are classy and ratchet and professional. No suits or ties allowed. I love y'all. Good night.
Hey.
Good night.
Peace out.
Hey, Demetrius.